Hello everyone, so today I will be talking about my experiences with using the 360 camera. The model I used was the Insta360 One X2. There were actually 3 different resources that helped me in using the 360 camera, taught me how to use it, and just why 360 photography is used in the first place. I will leave all 3 sources down in the description below. So the first resource that helped me with getting used to my 360 camera was a video by Otto Julian. It was his beginner's tutorial on how to get used to the One X2, and it was very helpful when it came to breaking down the basics of how the One X2 works, what each setting does, etc. It basically allowed me to understand how to actually use my camera because I have never used a 360 camera before this class, so it was very helpful. I think this video was very useful and it was very reliable because anytime he talked about a certain setting on the camera, I would actually test it on my own camera and it worked. The second resource that helped me with 360 photography was an article by Spine.ai. It's called 360 Photography, What It Is and Why It's So Popular. For me, the main takeaway was that 360 is often used to create immersive experiences, which actually ends up building the customer's trust because they are immersed in the video or even the photos, so they can really see what's going on, and that would build customer trust. It also really encouraged me to want to take more immersive photos and videos. Like, I really want to go outside my comfort zone because of this. I kind of want to take videos and photos outside, for example. That would be very fun. The final resource that helped me with this project was actually Forbes. There's an article and it basically lists a bunch of highly specific ways in which 360 photography is actually used. One of the ones I thought was most interesting was showing off how home products actually work. I didn't even think about that. That's very interesting to me. And reading that article actually made me want to go outside my comfort zone for my final project. I still don't know what my final project would be, but I know I want it to be unique and different. I don't know how reliable Forbes is, to be honest. I don't use it generally when I write research papers, for example, but for this project, I think it worked. Now I'm going to be critiquing the photos that I took for this project. For the daylight photos, I found that overall faster shutter speeds tend to be better, and it really depended on how bright the day was. So for example, anywhere between a 30th of a second and a 60th of a second, for example, those were the speeds that were often better. And the ISO had to be overall lower, anywhere between 200 and 400 was generally better for daylight. I'm overall happy with how the daylight photos turn out. They're not perfect, obviously. There are definitely things I could have done better, but I'm really happy with this one in particular. It turned out really great, in my opinion. For the low light photos, generally speaking, the slower shutter speeds were a lot better for low light photos because they allow more light. The ISO also had to be really dialed up. When I was taking the photos, I felt like even when I was adjusting the settings, I felt like a lot of the detail kept getting lost in the photos, so overall, the low light photos were a bit middling for me, but I am happy with this one. This one turned out really nice because even though it is a low light photo, you can see all the details, which I am very happy about. As for the fast motion pictures, generally speaking, a faster shutter speed was better. If it was a slower shutter speed, the motion turned out to be very blurry. And the ISO really depended on when I recorded. If I was recording during the day, then the ISO would have to be lower, of course. But if it was during the, say, late afternoon, it would have to be a little bit higher. The fast motion pictures had very mixed results, in my opinion, but I'm very happy about these two right here. These two had motion, but the motion turned out very clear, and I'm very happy about it. The stitched photos, those were the ones I had the most difficulty with. Generally speaking, I found optical flow stitching was better than dynamic. The transitions were a lot better for optical flow. Dynamic, I don't know how to explain it fully, but some of the transitions looked very off to me. And honestly, unfortunately, I wasn't happy with how all of them turned out, but I am happy with this one. I think the transitions were very smooth, and I like how the lighting turned out as well.